Well, it has finally happened. A move that we all saw coming. The Pac-12 is finally dead. I know that has been a headline before, and it looked like they could maybe come back. They could maybe grip and hold on to that autonomous status, part of the power leagues. Even if though they weren't really, they could still hold on to that title and maybe be enough to draw teams to join their conference. But that has officially and finally ended just like less than 30 minutes ago. I mean, I'm jumping on to react to this news. So less than 30 minutes ago, my time right now, when I'm shooting this video, the NCAA Board of Directors, as per Chris Vanini, has announced that the Power 5 status, the autonomous status of the Pac-12 is being stripped. This, again, is from Chris Vanini. The NCAA Division I Board of Directors has officially removed the Pac-12 from the autonomy conferences effective August 2nd. It's now a non-autonomy FBS conference like the Group of Five. As a result, the Pac-12 will no longer have representation on the Division I Board of Directors, but it will still stay on the Division I Council, Football Oversight Committee, and other committees. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that the Power 5, the title of power status, is a made-up TV word. The true word is autonomous status. That's where a conference has SEC, Big 12, formerly Pac-12, ACC, Big 10. They have additional governorship rights over their conference outside of the NCAA. NCAA has a little bit less say within those conferences. Well, Pac-12 no longer has that. They lose that access to that autonomous status, which was such a big boost for them as a potential draw site for top Group of Five teams, potentially teams from maybe, say, ACC if it was to dissolve. That was going to be a potential draw for them. They no longer have that. I have done so many videos. This is the culmination video of so many videos talking about this subject, going all the way back to when the first rumblings appeared. My first video on this was what conference expansion means to the Mountain West and future of Pac-12. Then I did a video talking about SDSU to the Pac-12. Then is the Pac-12 about to collapse? And then the Pac-12 is dead. What happens next? And then wait, is the Pac-12 really dead? Two ways it could be saved. And lastly, a few weeks ago, can the Pac-12 be saved? Well, the final ultimate answer is no, it cannot. So what happens next from here? The Pac-12 has lost its autonomous status. It is now simply a Group of Six conference if it remains a conference. For right now, OSU and WSU, they have some time to tread water. They have 2 years to maintain their conference status, even with two teams, where they figure things out. And even in the face of all the mounting pressure of the increasing death blows to this conference, of top players recognizing the writing on the wall and transferring out multiple over and over and over again, OSU and WSU and their fan base continue to be completely immune to reality, to refuse to accept it, to continue to believe that there's something else on the horizon that they may be able to go to, and they're just going to wait. They're just going to drag their feet out, and they're going to wait to accept this coming reality, that they are now just a Group of Six conference with really no other options. They have the NCAA extension for 2 years. The Mountain West Schedule Alliance lasts till 2027. Which will prevent them from taking teams from the Mountain West. They have an alliance to play with them for 2024. That could be extended to have a scheduling alliance for 2025. But the root of all that is that they cannot steal teams over from the Mountain West until 2027 at the very earliest. Because if they do, it will be immensely costly for them. We'll talk about that in a second. So what are they going to do? Well, the first thing they're going to try and do is they're going to try and see if they can get into the ACC. That is their last lifeboat. That is the last line on this sinking ship. They are drowning man reaching out trying to grab hold of something, and the ACC appears to potentially present that option, that opportunity. Now, ACC doesn't want to just take them in. Things are going to have to happen, which it looks like things are going to happen there. I did a recent video with Clemson Football Live. Definitely check that out. It was a great discussion about everything going on right now with the ACC. But potentially, ACC is on the verge of losing a few of its top teams, maybe more than that. If Clemson and Florida State are successful, or at least even partially successful in their lawsuit, they will definitely leave. And they may leave whether they're successful or not. It's going to cost them $200+ million to do so if they don't win anything from the lawsuit, but they might leave either way. So the ACC is going to have some openings and potentially could be on the verge of a catastrophic collapse. However, the ACC is not just opening its doors to OSU and WSU. They are not their first choice. The ACC right now is sitting at 17 members. They took on 3 additional members to build some wiggle room in case something happened. They've already built in the contingency. 17 members wasn't their ideal conference number. They took in 3 teams anticipating that they may lose up to 3 teams in conference realignment, with Florida State already eyeing the door, with some others potentially on the way as well. Maybe Miami and Clemson, maybe North Carolina and Clemson. Either way, it looks like 3 or 4 programs may be set to leave that conference. So they're already ready. They already added 3 teams, and it took, they were not teams they wanted to go out and add. It took multiple presidential calls, or former presidents calling, representing their school, former Supreme Court justices. It took massive alumni pressure just to get the ACC to accept Stanford and Cal. And then SMU had to buy their way, and they have like some kind of 10-year deal where they're not going to take any money from the ACC. They had to pay them millions of dollars to join, and they're just going to sit there funding themselves for 10 years just for the opportunity, the right to be part of the ACC. So the ACC, even in the face of clear and present danger of potential Pac-12 level doom happening to them, is still having to be coaxed and bought out to have even an opportunity of saving itself, of bringing in the 3 teams it needed to do, which it absolutely had to do that to shore up its membership. So the ACC has already shored up its membership. If they lose 2 to 3 teams, if they stay at 14, they're not adding anybody. They won't see the need to. They're very much like the Pac-12, very much in their ivory towers, very much academic focus, very much prestigious and built up and pompous and airs that they haven't earned on the football field, but they feel they're part of the foundation and blue blood and bedrock of college football, and they don't recognize that college football has gone a completely different direction, that none of that matters anymore, that it's all about your brand, it's all about NIL, it's all about not just selling tickets, but also selling the image of the players. This is a market now. This isn't football anymore. This is just pure economics at this point, and they are still in their academic institution, ivory tower-esque mindset that doesn't apply to the modern college football world anymore. So they're not going out, they're not the Big Ten, they're not the SEC, they're not trying to go out and aggressively expand. They're not even the Big 12, who is recognizing their own danger and adding teams as quickly as they can. They're not like that. They are like the Pac-12. They are akin brothers in that aspect, and that is why the same thing that's happened to the Pac-12 is set to potentially happen to them. So ACC only loses 3 teams, they're not adding anybody. If they lose more than that, OSU and WSU are not their first call. Remember to go out to the West Coast and grab Cal and Stanford, who are institutional blue bloods of college football. We're there at the very beginning of college football, or close to it. To get those 2 teams, it took massive alumni pressure from the highest levels of alumniship to bring those 2 programs in. OSU and WSU are not on their radar. They are not teams they're going after. Even programs that have a lot to offer market-wise and potential football success like SMU had to buy their way in, even when it looked like they may end up losing teams in the future. So those 2 teams, OSU, WSU, especially now with the players that have transferred out, with the loss of their autonomous status, which is another blow to the prestige of those 2 remaining teams, they are just another West Coast group of 6 teams to them. That's all they are. They're going to go after, and I don't agree with going after these teams. I just did a video talking about the backwards mindset that drives college football expansion. It's going to apply to this. ACC is going to continue to use that backwards mindset that prioritizes regional TV markets and blue blood status over actual on-field success and brand ability and actual watchability of teams. That is a great discussion that completely discusses, completely encapsulates the issue, the problem with the mindset of modern college football expansion, why that mindset is incorrect, why it hurts teams that deserve to be deserve to be elevated, and also hurts the people in charge because they end up making less money because they elevate the wrong teams that aren't going to bring them in the same viewership or money as programs that actually succeed and produce on the football field. So definitely watch that video. I'll put a link in the description. But they're going to continue to operate with the outdated, backwards mindset and go after teams like USF, San Diego State, UNLV, teams in lucrative, attractive markets. That's who they're going to go after. Teams with high academic success, a few of those members, and also are in lucrative, attractive markets. And then after that, What OSU and WSU are now on an equal footing with everybody else. You don't have a market to offer. You don't have a lot of football success to offer, not consistent football success to offer. What really do you bring other than you're part of what used to be the Pac-12? That's not really a marketing point. So once they have gone through the teams that fit into the old style way of thinking and they start looking at teams that could actually help build up the ACC, why are you looking at OSU and WSU? They're not going to do that for you. Memphis, Boise State, even Fresno could be teams that they would go to ahead of them. Either way, in order for the ACC to go out and open up an opportunity, you're talking about probably at least 5 teams leaving. They're going to need to get down to 14, lose at least 2 more on top of that. So you're down to 12 where they say, okay, we really got to add somebody. Maybe if they lost those 2, maybe they would go over a USF, SDSU, a UNLV type team and go grab WSU and OSU just because of their former status as a Power 5. Maybe they would go do that, but probably not. So you're probably talking about 6, 7, 8 teams that would need to leave the ACC right now in order for OSU and WSU to have a chance of coming and joining. It's just not going to happen. The odds are so low, and at that point, I mean that's pretty much half the conference at that point. Big 12 is probably going to swoop in and steal a bunch of ACC teams. There's probably not going to be anybody left. You might have like 4 or 5 teams left in the ACC. So at that point, if anything happens at all, it's a conglomerate of joining of top group of 5 teams and maybe OSU and WSU and ACC, but it's probably not a Power 4 conference, Power 5, at that point, Power 4. It probably would not be a Power 4 conference anymore. It probably would just be the best group of 5 outside of the Power 3. And so your situation isn't getting that much better in that scenario. And the odds, again, of joining ACC as a Power 4 conference are pretty much unfathomable at this point. It's not going to happen. So what is going to happen? Well, they could try and build up the Pac-12. They could say, okay, we accept that we've lost our autonomous status. We're going to try and either regain that, which is pretty much impossible. It's much harder to get voted up to autonomous status. I mean, look at the AAC, look at the Mountain West. Both those conferences have had strong elite teams that succeeded at the highest level, have multiple top 25 programs, and they haven't even sniffed getting back up, getting into the autonomous status. It's not going to happen. The NCAA doesn't want to just hand that out. They were pressured into it by the teams that held by the conferences that held all the cards, and they had to give it up. You're not going to go out and just earn autonomous status. So maybe you can build yourself up as the best outside chance of group of 5. You could be the best group of 5 conference. Well, you're not going to take teams from the Mountain West, not until 2027 at least, because it's going to cost you $10 million per team with $500,000 added compounding. So for the first program you take, it's $10 million. For the second program you take, it's $10,500,000 plus the original $10 million. For the third program, it's $11 million plus the previous 2 sums, and it just compounds and compounds and compounds till if you were to take 11 out of 12 Mountain West programs, it would cost you $137.5 million. And that is in addition to that's what the Pac-12 has to pay. That's in addition to the Mountain West members having to pay $17 million if they leave within 2 years. If they've announced they're going to be leaving within 2 years, it's $17 million. If they leave within a year, if they give them a year's notice, if they give Mountain West a year's notice, it's going to cost them $17 million to leave on their own. That's just paying out of their own pocket. Or if they leave within a year, it's going to cost them $34 million. That's the exit fee for the Mountain West. So it's going to cost the Pac-12 upwards of $137.5 million to add Mountain West programs, and each Mountain West program is also going to have to pay its own exit fees on top. It's exorbitant, and there's nothing that the Pac-12 offers at this point. I mean, they have revenue and some things coming in, but so does the Mountain West, and nothing to top that level of costs. And so maybe you go out and you grab teams like from the AAC, whatever's left of it, American Athletic Conference, you grab programs from there. But again, the ACC is probably going to have a bigger drawer than you are. So if you're not part of the ACC pulling programs in, then you're not going to be able to go out and grab teams from the American Athletic Conference. So why would they want to join you? Why would they want to go join this West Coast Conference headed by 2 teams that have refused to give up any form of control, have really acted out throughout this whole process, are not teams you'd want to be just associated with willingly, and they don't have any autonomous status? Why would you want to go and join them? What do they add? Nothing. There's no reason as a top group of 5 program to go join. The only teams that would would maybe benefit from leaving their current conferences to go join the Pac-12 as part of rebuilt conference would be teams from like the MAC and Conference USA, because they're already at the bottom of college football anyway, so anything is an addition up. Sun Belt, American Athletic Conference, they're both right there in the middle, with the Sun Belt getting a lot of praise recently from the media, so a chance to rise even higher. I mean, they're saying we can build our way up to a top status in the Group of 5 on our own. We've done it already. American Athletic Conference has. And the Mountain West, they're already the best conference in the Group of 5 right now. With the teams that left the American Athletic Conference and the history of success from that league, Mountain West is already the best. So they're saying, why would we want to join you? And no team is going to make the jump to this new conference unless they have guarantees that everybody else is coming with them. And just the amount of friction that requires, the amount of coordination, the amount of presidents from multiple different areas of the country, multiple different ways of thinking, the amount of academic bureaucracy that you have to overcome to get that, boards of trustees voting and things, so to be able to overcome all of that, from the amount of teams that would be necessary to make it worth for any one of those programs to join a new rebuilt Pac-12 is absolutely unfathomable. There is no way that happens. I know a lot of college football podcasters, they love to talk about that idea. It's really exciting to think about just picking up the cherries from every top conference and putting them into their own conference. It's like building your own conference on NCAA Football 14. I mean, who doesn't love that, going through and picking all the best teams and putting them into one and then seeing what that conference could do? That's a really fun theoretical exercise, but in practical reality, it is nearly impossible. There is no way that that happens. So at the end of the day, the only option, and this is why the Pac-12 is really, truly dead at this point, is to join the Mountain West. It has nothing to bargain with besides its name. And at this point, I mean, a lot of people have talked about a reverse merger where the Pac-12 joins the Mountain West, and Oregon State and Washington State join the Mountain West, but they take the Pac-12 name. At this point, the Pac-12 name has been so shamed, so derided by this whole process. I mean, there is so much baggage that comes with that name right now that I don't even know if it is worth it for the Mountain West to take it. I think the Mountain West has a stronger name, stronger brand right now. I mean, you have a conference that has continued to fight for itself, to build up its status, and has continued to grow and show strength. And you have the Pac-12 that just collapsed in the most horrifying way possible. Yes, there's a lot of history that goes back with the Pac-12, but at this point, I don't even know if that's enough to overcome the modern stink that is attached to that conference name. So the Pac-12 is dead. There is no option for OSU and WSU, no realistic path for OSU and WSU right now besides join the Mountain West. Will it happen next year? Probably not. Will it happen the year after that? Probably not. OSU and WSU will tread water like a drowning man as long as they can to stay afloat in their current ocean of disconnection from reality. They are going to try and stay afloat in their current mindset where they don't have to accept the reality that is in front of them, that they are now no longer a power conference, that their best option is to build up a regional brand, to be part of the best Group of 5 program. That's what you want to do, right? That's the best option outside of joining the Mountain West for Oregon State and Washington State, is to build the best Group of 5 program and have their best shot for the playoffs out of that, to go take the best teams of every top conference. Well, hey, guess what? The Mountain West is already the best program. They are already the best conference in the Group of 5, now Group of 6. They're already the best conference. Most of the best teams in the Group of 5 that remain are in the Mountain West. Boise State, Air Force, Fresno State, San Diego State, UNLV, Colorado State, with strong potential, strong markets. And then you have programs that have added coaches this year, brand new coaches with a lot of excitement coming in. You have Bronco Mendenhall going down to New Mexico, Wyoming bringing in a new head coach to replace Craig Bull. You have the former Navy coach, who I have trouble pronouncing his name, so I'm not going to try, going over to join San Jose State. I mean, these are programs that are bottom of the barrel right now in the Mountain West, but could really, well, besides Wyoming's kind of middle of the barrel, but they could really build themselves up. I mean, the Mountain West is on the rise right now. They are the strongest conference, top to bottom, in the Group of 5 with no exceptions. There is no solid, rational, fact-based, logic-based argument you can make that puts any other conference above the Mountain West right now. So if your goal is to build up and be part of the best Group of 5, Group of 6 conference, go join the Mountain West. Your brand that you add to that as a former Power 5 team, I mean, there's still some things that OSU and WSU have to offer, even if it's not something a Power 4 conference would want. The Mountain West does. The Mountain West would want you, and it would add to their brand, and you would continue to build their strength. I mean, you are already creating the best conference, and guess what? It is the last remaining truly regional conference in all of college football. I mean, Sun Belt's decently regional, but Conference USA isn't. American Athletic Conference isn't. MAC is decently regional, but not really. I mean, you got teams that push all the way down to Kentucky. I mean, it's not truly just Middle Athletic Conference there. Mountain West is a true traditional regional conference of top programs with regional rivalries. There's a lot of potential rivalries for OSU and WSU in there. I mean, OSU can have it easy. They already have a somewhat rivalry with Boise State with several games. They've had 8 games in the modern era, FBS era of college football for Boise State and post-2000 era. They've had 8 games in the post-2000 era. The series is tied up 4-4 in the post-2000 era for Boise State and Oregon State. Oregon State could have an easy rivalry with Fresno State, San Diego State. Washington State could easily build up rivalries. I could see rivalries building up with Utah State or the California team. So there's a lot of easy rivalries right there. It's a great recruiting bed. You got all of California to dig into. You can reach down into Texas with the Boise State does a great job of recruiting in Texas, and so you're going to get a lot of exposure. You can build yourself up as the top program in the top conference in the group of 5. You're going to have representation in the playoffs. It just makes the most sense. It makes the most sense from a regional conference perspective. It makes the most sense from realistic options out there. And it makes the most sense as far as what's the best for the brand. The best thing for the brand for OSU and WSU is to join a strong, stable conference. And the Mountain West, because of the job that Gloria Nevarez has done, is one of the most stable conferences in the group of 5. It is one of the fewest that can be picked over because it has a solid membership and it also is pretty difficult to leave. And they stand by their guns. San Diego State tried to leave for the Pac-12 and Gloria Nevarez, the Mountain West, did not back down, and it showed strength in this conference. And while the Pac-12 was going by the wayside and reducing in their strength, the Mountain West was building theirs up. So it doesn't cost anybody anything besides pride. Nobody has to pay an exit fee. Oregon State, Washington State, just join the Mountain West. It is the easiest solution. And there's so much with the law of friction, about whichever area has the less amount of friction, that's where things are going to move towards. And it applies to college football as well, especially when you start talking about human beings and college administrators. It is so tough to do what Oregon State and Washington State would want to do. Their only realistic option at the end of the day, the thing that makes the most sense, also is the easiest path, is just go and join the Mountain West. All you have to do is give up your pride, and it might take them a couple years to get there. But it's going to be an exciting next few years for college football. This was a move that everybody expected, but it is officially over. The storyline, it is officially done. The Pac-12 is officially declared deceased. Long live the Pac-12. It's going to be an exciting future here. I think that the Mountain West has an exciting future in college football, establishing itself as one of the top conferences in college football. I think they can build their way up there. It's going to take a while, but I think they're going to establish themselves as that 4th best conference. And some years, their top teams might be right up there competing with one of the 3rd top conferences in college football. It's a new exciting world out there, and the path to domination for the Mountain West starts this season with teams like Boise State working their way towards the CFP. So make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you stick around this season, this off-season, for all of my great off-season videos. I have a video coming up this weekend previewing the Boise State offense. It's going to be an exciting video. I can't wait to see it. If you haven't watched it yet, watch the Boise State highlight video that I just put out. Boise State highlight video, the Boise State spring game. Boise State just wrapped up their annual spring game. It was a great performance. I got a ton of great videos sent in to build that. I'm so thankful to the members of Bronco Nation Updates, biggest Boise State fan Facebook group, biggest gathering of Boise State fans in all of social media. So make sure you check out that Facebook group. And I'm so thankful to the members that sent in videos that allowed me to create that highlight video. So make sure you check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, go Big Blue!